Now, I know many of you probably don't care too much about World of Warcraft, but when I saw the scene in this episode with the Death Knights giving the drinks to the scene to where Fluter Paradine is like, what must I give? What do I need to give to, be in your services, to stare into the chasm of the abyss or magic? All I could think about was the famous Gul'dan scene with Hellscream, Grom Hellscream, to where he's like, Gul'dan, what must we give in return? And then he's like, everything. I got those vibes. I legit got those vibes while watching this episode, and hopefully I'm not the only one. I know many of you out there might be WoW fans, but I don't know how many of you there are, but yeah. Now anyways, this episode, it felt like 4 minutes. It legit did not feel like a long episode at all. When I started the episode, I was like, I'm ready. I'm ready to watch, some Overlord, because last week's episode was amazing. It really just showed how savage Ainz can be, especially if you come into his tomb thinking that you can steal from him. It was a really great episode, probably one of the best episodes of the series to date, and then this episode comes out, and I'm like, I'm already really into Overlord, I'm loving it, and then all of a sudden, I'm watching the episode, and it ends very quickly. I'm like, wait, was that only 4 minutes? And that's the only thing I truly just hate about good series. It's something I really get angry about, because when I'm getting into something, like I'm really loving a show, usually the episode feels like 4 minutes, 5 minutes, it really doesn't feel that long, and you're like, are you serious? I gotta wait a whole nother week to see another episode? Just like, where did the time go? Like, where did 20 minutes of my time just go? It disappeared out of nowhere. But yeah, that's how I felt after watching this episode, and does anyone else feel like me? Does anyone else, have that feeling while they're watching an episode of Overlord? Because last week felt like that too. But anyways, let's get into what this episode's about. So, the main point of this episode is showcasing the Great Tomb of Nazaryk's power, how strong they really are. We, as the audience, kind of already know how strong Ainz's defenses are, thanks to this previous arc, but we also know how the NPCs of Nazaryk to Ainz and all of that, they're just incredibly OP. Like, no one really can compete with them whatsoever. You throw in Ainz has, like, super tier magic, like almost 11th tier to world-class items, I mean, he's pretty much broken. You're not really gonna touch the man whatsoever. And so someone like this other country, like the Emperor, coming in, they got to see Ainz for the first time and really get to see his military might, what he's capable of, and if they can actually stand a chance. And I actually have to commend the man for one thing. I have to commend the Emperor for not just straight up getting really, really scared and just turning tail, running like a coward and not doing anything. Because, I mean, if you saw that military might before you saw Ainz, you saw all the Supreme Guardians, or just the Guardians, floor Guardians, and stuff, and you saw all the NPCs, to the skeletons, to the Death Knights, to the magic, you'd probably run away, be scared, and not want to do anything. But he, at the very least, is still trying to form a rebellion against Ainz, get all the countries behind his back to be able to initiate and attack Ainz. It shows that the man, at the very least, is ballsy. He's not someone that backs down. Even though Demi has obviously outsmarted him and knows what he's thinking, it still says a lot about the Emperor's character that he's still willing to stand and fight after seeing the military might from Ainz. Now, exactly what was the military might? How strong was Ainz compared to the Emperor, and what really makes him worry to where, like, all of humanity is at risk? Now, we, as the audience, we know humanity could probably easily be wiped out with Ainz's group unless someone strong like a player pops up similar to Ainz and has like a similar force. But besides that, most likely anyone's not really going to actually serve a challenge to Ainz's group at all. And so what the Emperor did say does make a lot of sense. But let's look at the actual strength of Ainz's defenses. So, the Death Knights. So to kind of clarify the Death Knights for a second, the Death Knights are a legendary undead creature in this world. Now, as we know, in the game world of Overlord, like before Ainz became what he is right now, in the game, Death Knights were low-tier monsters. They, like, spawn at, like, level 35, I believe. I think that's the exact level. They're a very low-tier skeleton, because remember, Ainz is max level. He's level 100. He could summon, like, low-tier, mid-tier, and high-tier summons, and even higher-tier summons than that, with special abilities that could potentially remove some of his XP. And so because of this type of event, I mean, Death Knights really aren't that strong in the grand scheme of things for Ainz. It really isn't. But in this world, Death Knights are pretty much an entire military force. It would take a lot of people, an entire military and army, and a bunch of people to bring this thing down, or using artillery strikes to bring a Death Knight down. That's how powerful a Death Knight is compared to everyone else in this world. So you gotta imagine if Ainz started using his higher tier creatures, GG right then and there. So that's how scary the Death Knight was, and why the Emperor and everybody else was freaking out with seeing the Death Knight just casually doing a mundane task like just serving juice. That's, it's pretty scary. Think about it like this. You know from legends or what you've seen that a Death Knight is this monstrous creature that really can't be controlled, can wipe out a country and all that. If you hear someone is able to control multiple of these things without any issue and then making them just serve juice, that's scary, because they're having something that powerful do something like that. Imagine what else he has under his command that's actually his true soldiers. That's the point here of what Ainz was doing, like showcasing and just doing a power play, saying, yeah, we have this great drinks, this juice and stuff, but on top of that, we have these crazy creatures that all of you freak out about just for one, and I have multiple, hundreds of them just sitting on the side doing pretty much nothing. That was right then and there very scary. But also, the tier of magic that actually changed the weather, changed it from like a cloudy, rainy day to a very sunny and warm day, that was also a show of strength. That was a very high level skill that not many actually even know about. Because remember, just as a brief reminder, you know, magic tiers, the normal level of magic tiers people can actually get to is around the 3rd tier. 4th tier, 5th tier, and 6th tier is pretty much legendary. Like, when you get into the 5th tier, you're pretty much into the realm of heroes, 6 like gods and angels and stuff. So if you get any higher than that, you're getting into some ridiculous territory that really nobody knows about whatsoever. And so when a maid that's just a regular maid, like, you know, the Emperor's looking at the maid and you see this maid just control the weather like it's nothing, automatically shows that the power, the might of this country is absolutely ridiculous. And that is how he was able to judge the strength of Ainz's entire group, just by those few events alone. It was a really nice way to show that the Emperor is not a dumb person by any means. He was able to realize just the difference in their power, and that he really can't do much whatsoever. But also, let's talk about the interior decor of the Great Tomb of Nazarick. As the Emperor's walking through, he's looking like, okay, he's got beautiful women, he's got gold, he's got statues, he's pretty much got anything. Like, anything I could offer him from my kingdom, he honestly wouldn't accept. There's nothing that would probably interest him, which makes a lot of sense, because when you really think about it, Ainz is someone that has this really massive Great Tomb of Nazarick that has so much decoration and beauty to it that honestly, anybody that has in the common world, there's not really much they could probably really offer him. Now, as we know, Ainz is a character, he loves his money, he loves his magical items, he loves that type of stuff, but he obviously doesn't know that. But on top of that, I mean, when you look at all this wealth and stuff that's around, you'd think that Ainz has just way better and he wouldn't really care about anything too tiny. So, yeah, I mean, all of these little moves that happened throughout the episode was just power plays. Now, let's explain the reason why this had to happen in the first place. Now, Demi planned pretty much all of this, and all the events that happened with the workers was thanks to Demi's plan. So, Fluter, or Paradigm Fluter and all that, the one that was like, you know, praising Ainz, looking at him like a god or whatever at the end of the episode, and really crazy about magic, he was someone that was actually a traitor that fed the Emperor information about the Great Tomb of Nazarick's location, for the workers would go there, and then eventually Ainz would have justification for attacking the Empire. That's pretty much what happened. So, yeah, that's the messed up part about this. So when you really think about everything that just happened in the last arc, all of that was set up thanks to Demi. It was Demi's plan. Remember a couple episodes ago, and even in the last episode, he was really upset, like he had to follow along with Demi's plan. He was really angry, and he didn't like having to have people, you know, raid the Tomb of Nazarick, or, you know, having to reveal themselves to the public and all that. He was really angry, but he's like, I agree, Demi does have a good plan. Ainz said this a few episodes back. The reason why was because everything that happened was thanks to Demi, just to be able to get to this point, to be able to leverage his control over the Empire and the Emperor. So yeah, all those people that died in the last episode was just for this. They were literally just pawns and set up just for this to happen. That really puts in perspective of how messed up Demi is when it comes to some plans he comes up with to achieve, you know, world domination for Ainz. When it came to the reveal of Fluter, and how he betrayed the Emperor. I think that scene, honestly, was done very well in this episode of the anime, because, like, you have it to where the Emperor's thinking to himself, like, what did I do wrong? How does he have information about things, about our empire and all that? How does he have, all this information? And then all of a sudden he realizes the only person that would know would be Paradigm Fluter, that, knows all sorts of things and secrets about magic and all that, is very strong. And he's like, he didn't freak out that much. He didn't really freak out that much inside of the Great Tomb of Nazarick, so that means that he most likely is a traitor, which was just really crazy. I love that reveal and all that, because the Emperor's kind of stuck. He can't really do much right now, because Fluter is a very, strong asset to political power for the country, which I'm going to get into. So it wasn't really properly explained. I mean, it was elaborated on towards the end that they can't just get rid of him politically that easily, but he is someone of great importance. He's basically the equivalent of like a hero of a country. That's what Fluter is. Fluter Paradigm, he is someone that is so strong that he could wipe out like an entire country's military, unless it's someone really strong like a sword fighter like, Gazif and all that from the, main kingdom. So when you think about it, Fluter is too strong to just get rid of. They can't really get rid of him, but someone like that, that's pretty much their main, like, right hand, like, wielding of power, like the gauntlet or whatever, just in Ainz's palms of his hands, that's really bad for them. And that's when he realizes that he needs help from all the other countries to be able to do something, because with Fluter on his side, on Ainz's side, they can't do much at all. The founding of a new kingdom, the main objective of what's going on. So Ainz is about to officially become public and pretty much make a country. That's what's happening, as you can see from the dialogue at the end of the episode, and all of the Guardians want to give Ainz a new title. He should assume a new title to match his new status as, like, a ruler, and they started giving him all sorts of names, like Beauty King to Love King, and I'm just like, all these names are so stereotypical, or just, like, bland. It's hilarious. But then you have someone like Kokutus, he's like, let's call him the Sorcerer King, which I think, even though it isn't the best name, it definitely fits Ainz, because, I mean, he is a sorcerer, he is someone that knows great amounts of magic. Definitely for normal people in this world, he is literally insanely strong when it comes to magic. That's not even counting how he is as a fighter, even though he's a low class like warrior, basically like level 30 something, but he's still very strong for comparison to the normal people in this world. So Ainz is ridiculous. And so I think the Sorcerer King, it definitely fits his entire persona, I think, and hopefully many can agree with that. Now let's talk about Ainz's character trait, where he fakes it till he makes it. Demi's like, Ainz, it was all part of your plan all along. You were someone that, initiated all this. I've been going along with your entire plan. And Ainz's like, wait, what? Like, he just acted very, like, shocked. I was like, yes, you're right, Demi. I love Ainz that moment. I just love how Ainz somehow managed to get through all of these problems by literally just, like, at the skin of his teeth. He just really gets lucky and can barely get out of these situations. And I just like how he kind of talks to Demi. He's like, okay, Demi, I want you to, tell everybody in the room my plan and all that. And I just like how he manipulates Demi in a way just to be able to understand what's going on with the plan and what did Demi actually assume he was trying to do in the first place. And then he comes to find out that there's a lot more to the plan than just, this entire event with the Empire. He's like, oh my god, like what? So everything that happened this episode, pretty fun, enjoyable, and I love Overlord for that. I guess, that's pretty much about it. I think I've covered everything that needs to be covered. If I have missed anything, let me know in the comments below. But with that, I love you guys. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe, stay healthy, and if you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like, and if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, Chibi out.